Cherie Hansen here. I'm reading to you from my blog, which is fed into my YouTube channel and also on cheriehansen.com. This one is called The Fulcrum of Compliance. It was written November 15th. Today, several things came together in my field of attention. First, a very conventionally beautiful woman put a post up on Facebook, and I wondered about the idea of complying to the cultural concept of beauty. When women as a group choose, or a particular woman chooses to have procedures, selects ultra-feminine clothing, tilts her head seductively, what is motivating her, I wondered. It is exactly what I am working through in my own life right now. My mother conditioned me to be pretty. I had perms at the age of 4 and 5, and back then the chemicals were bestial. My eyes stung, I could barely breathe. The curlers lifted up my scalp because they were so tight they had to be tight, and it took 30 minutes. The concern was that it would take. As my mother made me dresses that restricted my muscular shoulders and shoved unforgiving Mary Jane plastic shoes on my wide feet, she reminded me of where my ultimate power lay. Women must suffer for beauty, she incanted to me. She said this to me during these ritual attempts to mold me into a more feminine form. The idea of fitting into a high school that was full of the richest people in my town was also entrained in me. We lived on the heights where doctors' houses perched. Lawyers' abodes were custom designed, overlooking the lower levels of the town where chicken farmers, mechanics, and factory workers lived. Their children went to the other high school. I walked through the hallways, through groups of girls wearing cashmere sweaters with matching socks, and with boys who got a TR3 red convertible for graduation, knowing I was a fraud. My parents worked 4 jobs between them to build a house. I was a fraud. I was not interested in being pretty and remained passive and lived my life in books and reading and chasing intellectual ideas. At home, I was beaten and molested. At school, I was mocked and strange. The question of how one goes into the world as a woman is on the table right now. Posts in media are asking the question, why have women stayed silent for so long? We have stayed silent for the same reason that we had ribs removed in Victorian times, in order to fit in. We have stayed silent for the same reason we walk in shoes that destroy our feet. We have stayed silent for the same reason we refuse to speak up for equal pay. We bleach our hair blonde. We look to our fellow captives to see how they are accumulating attention and power. And what we see is compliance. A few women break out and bodybuild or fight like hell for the disenfranchised, or are brave enough to say, me too. It is a time of transition. Since the time of the Elysian mysteries, when women held the societal power, we have been ruled by men. Throughout the history since the mysteries collapsed, we have looked around us to see how other women embraced their own slavery. It is about style. What gives them attention from men? They move up the ladder because they are not a threat. They are available to be sexual presences in the workplace because of the way they dress and present themselves. Men do not have these restrictions on them. And it is time that women, each individual woman, sit down and have a conversation with herself. Who am I when I am not trying to fit into a persona? Who am I as a free-spirited being moving through life? Who am I when I am not afraid? From that point, things will change. It will move from being a fulcrum of compliance to a fulcrum of authenticity. I have faith that is where we are headed. For me, I sit with the question, how was I conditioned? What choices in my life are truly my own? I am curious, and not knowing is the beginning. Thank you.